Welcome back to the start line of the 2025 USA Cycling Criterium National Championships. You are looking at a 51-rider-strong elite men's field who have just got their final instructions and are just about ready to go racing. Defending champion Stephen Bassett going to lead them out right in the middle. A lot of pressure on the shoulders of Project Echelon out there tonight, Lauren.
No doubt. Like you said, we talked to Eric Hill pre-race. They want to control this race just like they did last year. They've had a very good spring season in the United States as well as internationally, so definitely look to them to do something very similar to Fount, is control the race either by attacking or by just controlling the race and sitting on the front.
As they take off from the line here, again, 90 minutes of racing on tap for the elite men. A little bit longer than the elite women just did here. Same setup. We're going to work on the clock-based system before they figure out an average lap time and start counting down on laps out there. First thing I got to point out, the Aero helmet for Project Echelon. I think this has been a new experiment and experience that they've been trying out this season. Been seeing a lot more Aero helmets in the crits.
Oh, man, bless it. You know, a lot of times road cyclists are very concerned about the aesthetics, and I'll be honest, it's not very pleasing to look at that helmet, but you know what? It's all about those 1% gains, and if it makes a gain, go for it, guys.
Well, there's going to be a lot of time for action out there tonight. Just like we saw in that elite women's race, the big teams are going to be the big story out there, and Project Echelon will be the biggest of them all, with Stephen Bassett, the defending champ, back for more. Brings an entire team with him, with Brendan Rimm, Scott McGill, Ricky Arnapol, Sam Boardman, Caleb Clausen, and Kieran Howe. Now, these are going to be some riders that would have helped Stephen Bassett to his victory last year. But, again, we are going to have a much different race this year. You got to go back and look at 2024, where they dominated the podium, sweeping 1, 2, and 3 last year. But it was in the rain. It was dark. It was later at night. Much more chaotic than the conditions out there today.
Talking about all of these corners having a speed limit, especially that speed limit decreases a lot in the rain, and Project Echelon controlled the race, the entire race, and when it came down to that sprint and they had increased the speed so much in those last laps, there was a crash late in the race, which led to a full podium sweep by the team.
The rain got worse and worse as the night went on as well, but Project Echelon never phased. They kept their guys up at the front. They stayed on it, stayed aggressive, and really did what they did best, and that was put on a train on the front, hold on to the control of the race. This was into one lap to go, where it really looked like they would be impossible to beat, and they could really choose their podium order as they came across the line. So a dominant performance from Project Echelon last year, but it's a new year in 2025.
It is, and Eric also alluded to having two of the riders back healthy here at the start line today, Stephen Bassett and Brendan Rimm. So to have them back being part of this team is crucial, and what better time than right here at National Championships.
And here we go, right back to it. Old habits hard to break for Project Echelon, as they're going to try and control this one early on with their numbers here. Let's talk a little bit about the front row rolling off the line there. Didn't get a chance to introduce some of the top riders in the field at the front. Obviously, we started with defending champ Stephen Bassett. I also saw Danny Summerhill up there for the Legion of Los Angeles team. He's going to be a great rider in this course on this sprint. He's powerful. He can put himself where he wants to be. And if he gets a clean look at the line, Danny Summerhill going to be a major threat for Legion.
Definitely. Danny is probably on chapter 3 of his career, and always good to see him out at the races, and maybe that Legion team can do something very similar to what Kendall Ryan did tonight.
Project Echelon also got Brendan Rimm up on the front, so they'll have a couple riders that they can play out there. Rimm is also one of those that could absolutely win the national championships in one way or another. As he visit Pittsburgh up there with Daniel Uranowski. He won the Tour of Newport News just a little bit ago, so his GC victory there got him up onto the front row. Then it was Michael Hemmerlin from the Landis Cyclery Trek team. Got a top 10 at the Tour of the Gila earlier this year. Scott McGill getting another call-up for Project Echelon. Also going to be looking at Michael Garrison. He's had a great season this year. Garrison is another one of those power rod, very similar to Danny Summerhill. He's been knocking on the door of a national championship here. I would not be surprised one bit to see Garrison in Stars and Stripes after today.
A man of many talents, and Michael is here by himself as well, but you always have to count him in as a podium finisher.
And then you look at a couple veterans, former teammates on the front row. Tyler Williams of the Golden State Blazers team and Robin Carpenter of the Legion of Los Angeles team. 4th and 5th in this race last year. Those are the two guys behind that Project Echelon train up there. But again, two of the most experienced riders in this race in Williams and Carpenter.
No doubt. Those two guys and two amazing sprinters as well. So just savvy guys. And here we go. Right now, Robin Carpenter coming across to this break already.
I also see the green jersey of Caden Cyclery up there. That is going to be with the teammates of Lucas Bourgogne, who also got a call up. He's hard to miss on the front row. He likes the camera, let's put it that way. Not afraid to put on a show. We saw his teammate, Luke Fetzer, last night in the U23 race. They've really been a dynamic duo over the last couple seasons of racing. They've really found a rhythm with just two riders, sort of like that Legion hit squad that we were talking about, but it's been really amazing to watch what Bourgogne and Fetzer have done out there. And he doesn't have Fetzer tonight because he raced in the U23s.
No, Fetzer is here
that.
tonight. Yeah. So what's cool, this team has been very successful this spring. Also, Brad, as you know from all these races that you've called Sunny King Criterium. So, yeah, these guys are definitely going to be a good team to watch for tonight.
I think that was maybe Porterfield or Smith that we saw up on the front earlier. Caden Cyclery has 4 in the green jerseys out there tonight. Little split rolling off the front here. I'm not going to get too excited yet. I was burned too many times in that elite women's race, so I'm going to let this one settle in until it's at least 30 seconds. I'm not biting.
Wise moves, definitely. Someone also we're seeing in the peloton that did not get a call up today is Colby Simmons, EF Education, Easy Post. Been racing over in Europe. Got the call up this year to go to the pro team, and actually flew with him and his dad here to Charleston, and Colby has definitely been put in the deep end of the racing this year, doing some of the biggest races in the world and just trying to take it in as much as possible. I was talking to him, I was like, what happens after Nationals? Where do you go? Oh, the Dauphiné.
Little race called the Dauphiné.
Yeah.
These 3 guys away. I know Fergus Arthur is the foundation rider up there. Robin Carpenter on the front. And I think this is a Visit Pittsburgh jersey in the middle. This is the kind of move that gets away and maybe stays away for a while.
Exactly, but Project Echelon is not in it. They're definitely going to at least want to be represented. It will be interesting to see if they play it like they did last year. Just, you know, what we saw last year is they got on the front and just controlled the front. Now, the weather was different last year, completely different race scenario. You know, if that's the case, usually you want to be at the front and just keep it safe and safety in numbers and really just control the race. But here a little bit more calculated so far tonight. Not everyone on the front altogether, just riding the front. They know how to do that. A little bit different game plan tonight, but you know, Eric always wants to win with his team. You know, you always want to win, but you can definitely feel the passion when he talks about his race team. So it'll be interesting to see how they can pull away a nice victory tonight.
These guys going single file as they chase down that group of 3 up the road. Good to see Daniel Uranowski using his starting position to his advantage. Given the opportunity, surrounded by some strong guys, he said, let's get something going here. So Uranowski is linked up with Carpenter and Arthur here into a group of 3. Now you see Sam Boardman chatting a little bit at the front. He's trying to figure out what they're going to do about this move.
Sam, most likely one of the on-the-road captains for Project Echelon. Sam has been such a pivotal role in this team and doing so much work for the team. He's such a team player, and you can always see the passion when one of his teammates win, what it means to him.
It's a really amazing program that Project Echelon has built, not only in the race result, but also the culture that they've built around that team. That's how you sweep a podium, 1, 2, and 3. This is a team that's clearly firing on all cylinders. obviously at the Criterium last year, but back to it this year. They've been expanding their horizons a little bit, doing a little more racing in Europe, kind of growing the team a little bit, largely in part because of team director Eric Hill's ambition on that squad. He's been at this for got to be the better part of 10 years. I don't know how long Project Echelon has been around, but it's been a while. They've become a staple, and Eric Hill comes back to Nationals with a lot on his shoulders. You had a chance to catch up with him before last night's race.
Definitely a hard thing to replicate, right? Like the focus is going to be just getting a win. Anything else beyond that is icing on the cake. We're the biggest team in the race, so we're going to have to assume responsibility. But I think we're going to be more aggressive than we were last year. You're going to see us trying to race up the road. I think we're going to catch some people off guard that way. Just with the numbers that we have and knowing some of the competition that we have, Lucas Burgoyne, Danny Summerhill, Robin Carpenter, like cheeky racers, we need to make them make racing decisions in the race. And I think forcing things up the road and resetting the race multiple times is going to put us in the best position to do that.
And you guys have already been very successful this year, winning multiple races. So you have to be super confident going into tomorrow night.
Yeah, I mean, this year, totally different without Tyler Stites, who's moved to Kaharau. He's a guy that we leaned on heavily to finish things off for us in the past. And without him, it's created opportunities for multiple other people to race and to win. It's taken us a while to figure out that dynamic and for guys to understand where they fit in that mix, but we just started hitting that stride just in time for Nationals. I'm excited to see it come to life.
Who on the team is your on-the-bike leader? You know, who's going to be the race director out there?
Yeah, I think there's really 4 guys that see the race in real time and dictate what's going on. Sam Boardman in a Criterium, just one of the best. And he learned from some of the best as well. Brendan Rim as well. Cappy came through that program. But Stephen Bassett and Scott McGill also, Stephen, national champion last year. Scott McGill probably won the most races out of anybody on the team over the years. So we have a lot of really tenured guys that we can look to make race and game time decisions.
And you guys know the course, coming back as winners from last year. That's got to help a lot.
Yeah, we know the course when it's wet. We don't know what it's like to race in the dry. And so depending on those conditions, it's obviously going to change the way that we choose to race that race.
Thanks so much, Eric.
Yeah, you bet. Thank you.
We're going to find out tonight how they race in the dry conditions here. They're already maintaining their position up on the front here, just patrolling the front of this bike race. That's what Project Echelon does best. When you have the numbers and you can get organized, as Eric said, the responsibility falls to you as the biggest team in the race.
He definitely loves that responsibility as well. They love having that role and being in that role. And talking about his team, they have a split squad. They have part of the team is over in Norway this year as well. Hopefully they're tuning in and watching some bike racing.
Nice little turnout along the start-finish stretch here. One of the other great parts about this course, there's like 4 places to hang out. You can spend like an hour at each, so it's a great way to kind of get around, move around. Look at the cadence train at the back of the group. These guys tail gunning early on here. This is actually a Lucas Burgoyne special. I've learned that this is kind of his racing style. Lucas will come through and like ham it up for the crowd when we do criteriums at like Tour of America's Dairyland or Chicago Grid up there. Not afraid to spend some time at the back because he knows he can comfortably get to the front. But I would warn him that Nationals are a little different than your run-of-the-mill Criterium.
That's an interesting tactic. It's mostly the most dangerous spot to be is at the back of the group.
That's what makes it so interesting, Lauren.
I guess so. He's got a couple of guys right off of Project Echelon's wheels, but if Lucas wants to hang out at the back, go for it.
Golden State Blazers going to roll one away here. Brody McDonald, young, strong talent here.
Just like you said.
See, they're waving. I think they can see themselves on camera. I'm telling you, these guys are.
I like it. I like it. You know, you got to play to the crowd, and you might as well. It's just is so good for the sport. You know, we always talk about cyclists having a poker face and not showing any emotion, but I think it's great. Let's get the crowd into it and keep them engaged.
I think part of it also speaks to the ability to ride efficiently, right?
Yeah.
When you're a smart bike racer, when you're experienced out there, you can go from the back to the front. Like, I could put you out there, and I would expect you to get to the front in like a lap or two. It would take me 10 or 11 laps to get there because I would have to wait for them to lap me in order to get picked back up. That would be my only chance. It's like somebody going to come in from the pit here on Project Echelon. Losing one. They'll be fine.
We've seen on the course, it's been pretty rough. We saw Heather Fisher have a flat right out the first lap of the women's race. And when they take this first turn, right-hand turn right here, if you look to the left of the course, there is a manhole cover, excuse me, maybe it's not this turn, but one of these turns that they're on, there's a turn that basically the apex takes them right to a hole, a manhole cover or something that they are having to avoid. So, you know, if you get caught out in that, just, you know, and you can ride through it and you might have a flat tire or whatever. So yeah, thank goodness for the two pits on the course that you can get to, and like you were alluding to, having the free laps to lean on to get back into the race.
Brody McDonald going to come back. Looks like a little counter moving off the front here. I think this is an Empire Cycling jersey.
I think that's Andrew Frank. I actually spent a lot of time talking with him. There's the pothole that I was talking about a couple turns in. Yeah, talked to Andrew last night. He was watching his teammates race, and he was really excited for the Criterium. And I said, hey man, if you get off the front, I'll talk about you. So, there we go.
All right, we're going to take a quick break here as we continue to monitor the attacks on the front here. Non-stop action, 16 minutes in. We're going to take a break, and we'll be right back from the National Championships.
Competing at the highest level in the sport requires the right training ground, and USA Cycling has found that in Arkansas. Bentonville is the home of the U.S. National Mountain Bike Team. But our statewide network of trails aren't just for elite athletes. We've got a ride for everyone.
Just increasingly more and more, I'm telling people, if you ride mountain bikes or if you want to get into mountain bikes, you got to come here and see for yourself, because you don't really know until you know.
Plan your mountain biking trip to the natural state at arkansas.com.
There's no time to waste in the morning.
That's why you should watch 13 News this morning for fast and accurate weather and traffic every 10 minutes. Plan ahead with real-time traffic and beat the morning rush.
This is a look at what's happening with our traffic drive times. It's leading out of Hurricane today, going to Charleston, just 21 minutes.
Get the latest on road conditions and alternate routes. Know what's happening with live, local, weather and traffic every 10 minutes.
Weather and real-time traffic every 10 minutes beginning at 4:30 on 13 News this morning.
Downtown Charleston, West Virginia, just under 20 minutes in to our elite men's 90-minute competition out on course as these guys continue to turn laps around the roughly 1 mile, 6-corner course throughout downtown Charleston, West Virginia here. See the Cadence train still hanging out at the back there, our 3 green jerseys.
What's funny is you just saw the fans actually like calling them in, like, give us something, what are you going to do this lap, right? I would be a little bit worried of getting caught out of paying attention to the fans versus the race if I was teammates or Lucas back there. But hey, man, if you said he's done this and this is what he does and that's his MO, go for it.
It's what makes you comfortable. You
Yeah,
know? It's about riding your own race.
You're exactly right. Not the race I would choose, but I'm glad it works for him.
They call him the cowboy, and it's not just because he brings the cowboy hat to every podium. He's certainly got a cowboy mentality to him as well.
All right. I figured that would have been someone like Chris Tolley, who is also in this race tonight. I would have figured since he's out of Austin, Texas, that would be more of his MO, but...
I think Tolley passed the crown down to Lucas. Oh, Project Echelon, all business up on the front here. No time to mess around for these guys. They got a job to do, and they're at work right now. I see Mike Creed hanging out. He has been an integral part of a lot of those riders that came through. We saw Brody McDonald off the front early. He's a former Avolo rider. Came up through that program, now got picked up by the Golden State Blazers. He's going to be coaching the EF boys out there today, but Creed has been a part of a lot of success stories in American bike racing.
Yeah, there was a picture last night of all of his former riders with
cool.
him, and you know, it just runs the
So
gamut.
about half this field.
Exactly. Yeah, right, exactly. And you know, I don't think he realizes how many lives that he has impacted and helped racing careers. You know, and he has his one rider out here tonight, Colby Simmons. And you know, what do you tell Colby? I mean, you've got one rider, and he's a pretty savvy rider himself.
Yeah.
So maybe
Creed will say, "I'll have your wheels here if you need them.
Yeah.
I'm going to be right here in the pit."
Yeah, no, it's good that Avol is now under this EF banner and having a place to move up.
The Project Echelon hockey jersey. They got the Takis hat.
Nice. Well, those guys during team camp actually went to a junior hockey team and, you know, basically helped mentor them and went to one of their practices. And
Cool.
I
Right
think
on.
most of those guys can somewhat skate a little bit,
Yeah.
but yeah, I think they had a good time. Eric Hill definitely has two boys that play hockey, so that's a pretty cool jersey. Good crossover.
That Project Echelon team based out of Hill's home state of Wisconsin, where they take their ice hockey pretty seriously. Great shot. The single file field rolling along here. Love this drone coverage over the Kanawha River. Through the line, you can really see the surges with this shot coming up the left side here, and speaks to the speed of this group as well today.
And we were talking earlier about Project Echelon's team plan and, you know, wondering if it was just going to be controlled from the front like they were just lined up now, or would they be trying to make a break or whatnot. So someone else is deciding to make a breakaway for them and see if they are just going to cover or sit on or line it up. But it looks like they're just going to line this up right now and just keep the pace high.
See Ricky Arnapol chatting with his Project Echelon teammates, just taking inventory of what's up the road, letting them know what he sees and making a call. Do you chase it or not? You're going to have to make that decision 20 times throughout the night tonight.
And we were talking, that was Robin Carpenter who initiated that attack of Legion of Los Angeles, and a savvy rider that even Eric Hill mentioned in his pre-race interview is someone that you're going to have to watch out for and make them make a race-winning move decision, as he said. So we'll see if Robin can outsmart them, but this is a smaller break, not necessarily something that's going to stay away.
That is the manhole cover pothole that you're talking about.
Yeah, it's
That's
pretty
awesome.
deep. I mean, that's enough to give you a flat tire right there. Everyone's probably running tubeless these days. Quite a change in that technology, but you know, it still will grab your front wheel just like any other.
Yeah. Well, that's the tough part about being in a group here, right? It only takes one bad lap where you're forced into that line. It's nice to think that you can avoid it every lap, but sometimes you just got to take the line given to you, and sometimes that's right through a sewer grate.
Yeah, and that's not something that the city could cover up, right? Because that's part of the infrastructure of the road, but you just have to figure out how to race around it and know that it's there every single lap.
Yeah, I think that's one of the unique parts of Criterium racing on city streets, right? It's not an F1 track where it's perfectly manicured and everything is, you know, perfect the way that you want it. You got to avoid these little bumps. You got to know where the hills are. You got to know where those cracks are in the road. Tar snakes, big part of summer racing. When those things get hot in a midsummer race, that can grab your wheel real quick, and you got to know how to handle that.
Very much so. And I was actually talking to a fan pre-race and just talking how much he loves cycling for the fact that you're basically on the same field, same playing field as the professionals, and having that ability to race the race and climb all the same climbs that they do. That, you know, that's such a unique aspect of the sport.
Yeah, you can go ride the Wirtz Avenue climb anytime you want.
Did a couple
It's
laps
open to the
today,
public.
man. And you just see the apex of this turn. It spits everyone out, and what they want to do is go right over that line. But yeah, you see them all cut in a little bit to the right.
The wheel in last minute.
But look, as they continue through this race and the speed starts to ramp up, that's going to be more and more of a factor.
Group of 3 still away. I think this is Trevor August at the back in the Above and Beyond Cancer jersey, and then Liam Flanagan going to be the Skyline Cadence rider, up here with Robin Carpenter. That's Fetzer at the back right there, the guy who just won the U23 Criterium National Championships last night. And teammate of Liam Flanagan up here in the breakaway. So I guess the pressure's off for Skyline Cadence now. Once they got their guy into the breakaway, they can go back to partying at the back of the race.
You know, we've seen a theme. If you start to look back at Luke's wins last night, essentially you had the Kelly Benefits team on the front almost the entire race, and they didn't win. We saw Fount do so much work tonight, and they didn't win. You know, hopefully that's not conducive to Project Echelon. So, you know, you got to look to that historical wins and how the races have played out, and how that will essentially affect your race, and use that information to your team game plan.
This breakaway looks like it's got some legs to it. These guys starting to open up a little more time. No question in my mind, Robin Carpenter is the mayor of this breakaway, right? He's telling these kids what to do in this scenario. He's done this 1,000 times before. If I'm one of those two, I'm listening to everything that Robin Carpenter's telling me. It's not in his best interest to trick you in this scenario. He's not trying to kick you out of the breakaway. He's trying to make this move work. It's very clear that he's trying to contribute. So I would slot in behind Captain Carpenter there and just do whatever orders are thrown my way if I was in this breakaway.
Yeah, and Project Echelon essentially just is controlling the speed and that time gap. You know, there's no huge concern on their face right now, and there shouldn't be. There's plenty of racing to go and plenty of Project Echelon riders to go through.
I gotta say, one of the other things that Project Echelon does better than anybody is put riders on a leash, right? Call their shot in time when they're gonna catch this breakaway. We see it a lot in the stage races as well, because a lot of times they're trying to defend that yellow jersey. What they do is let a breakaway go, hold it at 30 seconds for the entire race, wear those guys out, and then chase them down in the closing 5 or 6 laps when you know that they're going to be all worn out. So I think Project Echelon probably letting this one go. They're going to find a comfortable, manageable gap for these 3 guys where Project Echelon believes that they'll be able to shut it down. That works 99% of the time, but 1% of the time you get an upset victory, and that's what the guys in the breakaway are counting on.
Brad, you tell me, you know, we're talking a little bit about Lucas and the party at the back, essentially, and the Sprinters Lounge he's got going on back there.
Sprinters Lounge, I love it.
Yeah. So the question that I have for you at calling all of these races this spring, are they savvy enough to figure out how to beat Project Echelon, you know, with the number game? You know, there's only 4 of the Team Cadence Cyclery against 8 of Project Echelon. Tell me.
Yeah, I mean, it's probably not going to be savvy. It's going to be skill. Lucas Bourgogne is such a good sprinter. He's such a technical rider. He can slip into this Project Echelon train in places that no one else would dare go. That's what's going to win this bike race for Cadence. That's what Luke Fetzer did. He went up against like a dozen Kelly Benefit Strategies riders last night. I mean, Fetzer was outnumbered outmaneuvered, outplayed on paper. He should have lost that race 10 times over, but figured out a way to get in there, and it's just pure skill. It's being a good bike racer. It's a little bit of having no fear. There's certainly an element of being able to put your body in places that maybe other people don't want to. If I look at this Project Echelon train, I don't want to be anywhere near those guys,
No.
but these are going to be the riders that can get in there, so I think that's going to be the key to their success. They know that they're not going to beat Project Echelon on pure watts, right? They know that they don't need to be at the front right now. That's why they're putting a guy into the breakaway and hanging out at the Sprinters Lounge, as you said, at the back of the group here, because they see exactly what's going to happen. And this is the savvy that you were talking about, like the big picture, looking at how this race is playing out. They see, all right, we've seen Project Echelon do this before. They're going to let this breakaway go. It's going to come back, and then this one will come down to a field sprint. So really no reason for Burgoyne to be anywhere near the front as long as he's not wasting watts at the back, right? As long as he's not getting gapped off and having to chase back on, that becomes wasteful. But as long as you're staying in the draft, I see no reason why you can't hang out at the back of the race.
Okay. But I wouldn't think that Lucas has basically been up against a whole lot of Project Echelon racing, right?
Yeah, and this is a different style of racing for Project Echelon too. Again, it probably hasn't raced them in this scenario where they're so motivated. They've got a full squad, and they're going to ride the front all night. But he can also look at this scenario. I mean, most of these bike racers in the group know what's going on.
Yeah,
right? They figured out the scenario right now. When you start getting these consistent time checks of like 20 seconds for now 5 laps in a row, it's pretty clear that Project Echelon is letting that happen.
Yeah, no doubt. And, you know, we've seen in the past with these big teams basically coming and stacking the field and just playing the numbers game. And, you know, Project Echelon, this is their race to lose tonight.
And I don't know that there's going to be another team that really needs to contribute. Ty Magner going to get up there for Legion of Los Angeles. I think he just likes riding at the front. He's just a better view up there.
Or can he mess things up just a little bit for Project Echelon?
Maybe.
Just get in there. He's got his teammate up the road, and like you're saying, like Project Echelon is so much in control of this race. You know, Ty is such a savvy rider as well, and he's just going to get up there and just make some issues for those guys.
That's a great point. You know, a lot of this is Project Echelon sort of calling the bluff of everyone else, right? They look so big, no one's going to try and go up against the Goliath if you're going to be put into the David scenario here. So looks like Magner going to be one of the few that will try and infiltrate this train and maybe try and slow things down for Robin Carpenter here as Carpenter continues to push on the front of this breakaway. It's clear to me that Robin Carpenter's motivated in the breakaway. He wants to make this one work. That's going to be his all-in move here tonight.
That's exactly what Ty Magner's doing right now. He just came through that turn, first wheel, and then totally sat up and made Project, oh yeah, you see that right there, made Project Echelon come around, and they're going to get a little upset with this and start throwing a little bit elbows.
This is
but
great.
That's racing. That's part of the game, and Ty is definitely playing.
Back up to your 3 leaders. Again, August, Flanagan, and Carpenter, your 3 up the road. There's a good look at the gap back to the main field as Project Echelon tries to maintain control despite the best efforts of Ty Magner. Ty Magner, a great sprinter in his own right, but not afraid to work for the team. He's equally as valuable in a team worker's role, not only because of the strength, but the savvy too. I mean, the fact that Magner is going to go up here and take on the Project Echelon train 32 minutes into a 90-minute race, I love that.
Yeah, for sure. Go up there and mix things up. Keep Danny Summerhill back in the back with no stress whatsoever. Now you're seeing these guys basically bunny hop that spot. That's quite an issue. Sam Boardman now to the front, and Ty basically almost starting to gap some of those guys off of his wheel on purpose. Michael Garrison also right in the mix with all those Project Echelon team.
Here's the hot line up the outside we were watching earlier. Let's Garrison go over. Oh, couple guys getting airborne.
Oh, man. I love it. Love to see it from this side of the fence.
It's just good bike handling right there. Right.
Right behind Project Echelon, you've got Michael Garrison, and then right behind him, the Blazers and Colby Simmons of that very definitive pink jersey, EF Education Easy Post.
Sun's starting to set over Charleston. Street lights starting to come on. They do have portable light towers all around the course that will light this one tonight, but it's impossible to light the entire course. So as these lighting conditions continue to change, that's a big factor in racing too, because those lines that you're looking for, it looks a little different each lap as the sun starts to set.
Yeah, you see a lot of those guys probably go to a clear lens start to finish, just because they know they're going to be finishing in the dark, and or some sort of rose-colored lens, but definitely, hopefully not any full-on sun protective lenses. You're gonna see them start to ditch those towards the end of the night.
Those will end up in the pit very quickly. You'll see riders toss those off as they get later in the race. Good look at the two groups here. Robin Carpenter definitely encouraging these guys. He just gave Liam Flanagan a little thumbs up through there.
Just hey, make sure you roll off on the correct side, because I'm already anticipating coming up your left side. Just to let you know I'm here. And they're going to have a good roll through, very efficient pace, but you can see that Project Echelon is not giving them much leeway, not much of a gap. You also see that Ty Magner is no longer disrupting the train. It costs a lot of energy to Ty to go up there and do that, because he's constantly in the wind, just moving around and shuffling.
And you can only do it safely so many times, too. There's a right way and a wrong way to do it.
Yeah, just seeing a little touch right there of Robin saying, hey, I'm coming up your left side. Just a friendly, here we come.
Right in sync with the pedal strokes here, too. These guys locked in. Looks like Project Echelon starting to bring this one back, though. Gap is dialing down just a little bit. I wouldn't be surprised if this one goes back out again by another 5 or 10.
Well, you know, I'm kind of wondering, why are they bringing this group back? It's 3, it's manageable, but it might not be fast enough or a big enough gap. And when you kind of leave it dangling like that, it just entices someone else behind you to definitely want to bridge across and bring that back. Or add to the break, and then your numbers are starting to counter and not equaling out to where Project Echelon, that's something they can control. And once it gets out of control, then you have to throw someone, try and make them jump across to that breakaway. So Project Echelon just wants to be in control.
Another great shot of the party down at Slack Plaza. Got the big screen set up.
Perfect.
We'll have to go watch a race there on Saturday or Sunday.
Yes.
Looks like Carpenter going to reach for a gel here. Talk me through the fueling for a 90-minute Criterium. What do you carry with you? What are you eating? What do you eat beforehand? How's that work?
Well, I think I've aged out in knowing exactly what that's going to be, because now
ever
it's all
changing, isn't it?
it's all about the carbs, man. Our day it was, you know, you'd take one gel for sure, and that's probably actually enough for tonight with these guys. But they're also already thinking about Monday.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, so, you know, you don't want to deplete the system too terribly much, but you've probably got a mix or something in your one bottle. I would assume they're probably not taking much more than that tonight, wanting to maximize weight as much as possible. And, yeah, just a gel, you know, one something or another, 50 grams carbs. I think that's probably
A light 50 grams of carbs. You say it so
I
nonchalant.
I don't know. Yeah, sure. You know, yeah, sounds good. But yeah, they're going to take on something, I would assume.
It's amazing how that science changes, but
Yeah.
that is the nature of science. As more information becomes available, you adjust to what you learn. And
No, I love it. Hey, I'm all about eating, man. I'm from the South,
Yeah.
so more the merrier for me.
next thing you know, your tires are 1.5 feet wide. You're eating 8,000 grams of carbohydrates.
Let's go.
Looks like Project Echelon going to let a few more riders get up into the mix here. I saw Michael Garrison kind of pull off the front there. I think he might have seen the writing on the wall for the breakaway up there, just took inventory. Might have been wrong, though, because it's looking pretty aggressive up there.
Well, again, this might go back to Project Echelon, like, not wanting to ride the front all race. They wanted this to be, you know, Eric said, I want this to be aggressive. I want people to have to make decisions. You don't have to make any decisions if Project Echelon is just dragging the field around lap after lap after lap. So, yeah, they brought that break back and, you know, are, you know, going to change the plan.
Notice you don't see the counter-attack here the way that we did in the Elite Women's race. There's just not a team aside from Project Echelon that has the numbers or motivation to do that.
Yeah, honestly, the next best team to do that would be Team Winston-Salem with 7. And, you know, we're not seeing that from those guys.
To the right side of the road. You see how it snakes around the road here.
Look at that. We've got a little rear derailleur issue. You can just trying to
give it a little kick. It'll go back into place.
I don't know if he's going to be allowed a free lap for that, but
it's Timothy Machulat wearing number 23 for the Visit Pittsburgh team.
There's Will Harden with an attack here. Wow, just we were talking about Winston-Salem.
Yeah, there you go.
Man, love it. Love to see it. Love to see those guys off the front, putting in an attack. It's needed. They were basically sitting 15th, 20th wheel as a group, and now look at them.
Well, Will Harden, not the kind of guy you want to let go. He lapped the field at the Athens Twilight Criterium this year, went away with a rider named Clever Martinez. They went all the way around the course, caught back up to the group. So I think that pretty much ruins his chances of any underdog moves going away, but Will Harden should have been on their radar already, so I think that was probably just an exceptional performance from him that night.
Will, also a former Project Echelon team rider, so, you know, all those guys know him, and yeah, Will's such a strong athlete.
Colby Simmons not straying far from the front. I think in this scenario, this might just be the safest place to be.
Yeah, Colby's definitely been kind of surfing that top 10, top 15 position. Smart, savvy rider, and yeah, that's the best place to be if you're a solo rider. Again, looking back in Project Echelon, we think we're going to just sit there and control the race, and so he's just been sitting in a sweet spot. But now things are kind of mixed up, and you got to start really paying attention to who's on the front and who's making these attacks and trying to get into this break, because again, like we saw in the women's race, you don't want to be caught out without someone that you really wanted to key in on as a potential race-winning move.
See the reinsert back into the race. And now look at this, Simmons gonna put in a little dig up here.
Yeah, go for it. You know, best defense is offense.
Yeah.
And if he wants to get up the road, or instead of just trying to cover, go ahead and be the one to initiate and see if you can't draw out the top tier athletes.
And the only thing that's going to alter this course of history is if somebody intervenes in Project Echelon's plan, right? Because otherwise this is going to go exactly like it did last year. And so Simmons is trying to be that spark that sort of starts the top turning, right? It starts to wobble a little more until it gets out of hand for Project Echelon. If he can link up with a few other riders, they can do it. You see the Golden State Blazers getting some riders up there. You talked about Winston-Salem. Caden should have some fresh legs at the back. The guys that have been hanging out in the Sprinters Lounge all night. See if they come up.
I just worry about Cadence just being a product of the race. You know, you get caught out by a crash or a gap or anything like that, and then all of a sudden you're kind of on the back foot. But yeah, this is the racing that we were hoping to seeing tonight, and I think this is what Project Echelon kind of wanted to allude to. They're just not used to this, so I think it's just not something they're comfortable with, but they have to trust and be confident in their strength in numbers and strength in who they have on the team to let this play out a little bit. This is not normal for them, so it's very uncomfortable.
Look how quickly this scenario has changed at the front. Project Echelon no longer in control. Their train has been fully dismantled up here. I don't even know if we should call it a train at this point. They were really just controlling the front of the group. It wasn't quite a lead out here, but they were 8 deep on the front of the race. Let's just put it that way. And that is no longer the case. You see Winston-Salem mixed in there. Looks like Legion of Los Angeles got one. That's the foundation jersey, the red and white there. I think that's probably going to be Fergus Arthur. So some new riders starting to get up there, and I think Colby Simmons might have really sparked this revolution happening right now.
But again, Brad, I just think it's okay. Like, again, they've got the numbers, they've got the talent. You know, take some chances. Let a couple of these riders go up the road. Also know how to cover and know who to mark, who you're going to mark. I'm sure those guys know who they want to not let up the road and who they do want to follow and work with. So just let it happen. You don't have to control the front of the race the entire time.
I think I'm also starting to see the green jerseys starting to move up. They're closing the Sprinters Lounge here as we get into halfway into this race.
Winston-Salem back towards the front, wanting to be a bit more aggressive, a bit faster pace. But again, Winston-Salem, if they're going to start doing these attacks as well, they have to be better placed at the front. You see 4 or 5 of them sitting probably 20th wheel. You've got to mix it up. You can't all be together. You have to be spread out throughout the peloton, so when it shuffles, the next person is essentially up there.
We've really only seen one split out there tonight, that group of 3 led by Robin Carpenter. They stayed away for about 8 laps before getting reeled back in. And haven't really seen a split back off the front yet, but I see a little bit of daylight here for Foundation.
And yeah, Brendan Rim's definitely on the front and wanting that to ease out a bit. He just laid off the front. See who's going to come around. Colby Simmons putting his nose in the wind again.
So I think this is going to be Fergus Arthur. Confirming number 40. Arthur going to need some help here, and he's got it. These guys can, is that Magner?
Yeah, that's Ty Magner, Legion of Los Angeles coming across.
Here we go.
Ferguson looking back is like, is it just the 2 of us? Wanting one more would be great.
Unfortunately, I think he's going to get a Project Echelon rider with him. Magner looking back, flicking the elbow. He's ready to work together with Ferg Arthur. Project Echelon is going to get one defensive player up there in Scott McGill.
And the Blazers are kind of left hanging and trying to come across, not wanting to bring the entire field, but that's what's happening right now, unfortunately.
Check that. I think that's Bassett, number 1 on his back for Project Echelon. That changes the scenario a little bit. Your defending champ getting into a breakaway here with an Arrow helmet on. Woo-hoo. Watch out.
Well, and the Blazers and Skyline are definitely seeing that and not wanting that to happen. 3 of these guys coming across. Winston-Salem, Will Harden on that back of those 3. It's kind of basically putting the peloton under a bit of strain, but Not the move. Next move going right now.
Maybe Will Harden again.
All the way to the fence right there. Wow.
Got to give a shout out to Samuel Smith, the Cadence rider up here in the green jersey. He has been omnipresent all night. While his team was kind of back relaxing, they obviously dispatched him to the front to patrol things early on here. He has done that job 10 times over, and now he's going to follow this move up. Talking about number 12, Samuel Smith of Team Cadence Cyclery, presented by Encore Wire. That's him in a green jersey right at the back there. Just kind of been silently surfing the front of this bike race, and now he sees an opportunity, and he's going to take it.
Kind of like a Laurel Rathburn of Legion of Los Angeles for the women's race. You know, that's such an important role, as Kendall Ryan was alluding to in her interview, like what it means to have that rider up there, and basically your sprinter can just relax in the peloton and let that race play out.
Once again, you see these guys get a little bit of leash, but then all of a sudden the blue jerseys of Project Echelon come to the front, and that leash stops going out. Harden and Smith are not going to be getting any reinforcements anytime soon.
Project Echelon's bringing this back.
Yeah, all they're going to get is a mean look at Sam Boardman chasing him down on the front. That stash is the last thing I want to see if I'm going to break away.
And basically attacking off the front right here.
Lasers cover it perfectly. McDonald is there right on the wheel of Caleb Clausen. That might be Brendan Rim. It's more like a Rim style of riding to me here.
Ah, this is Hugo Scala.
Oh, there you go. Okay, there's a little gap. We'll call this 5 away. Project Echelon not in control at the front of the field. Now this is a scenario where the fate of those guys at the front really lies in the hands of the riders back in the main field. It's going to be up to them how they respond to determine whether those 5 guys get away or not, because they're doing everything they can, right? The breakaway's going as hard as they can. They're redlining it. They're putting everything they've got into it. It's really about the response of the field as to whether or not these breakaways are going to go.
Exactly, and you saw Will Harden of Team Winston-Salem basically on the front to bring that back, and you would really hope that he would be up in the break.
The shot is also a great example of how the changing light conditions affect you. You see these shadows as they move through the light. Talk about what that is like racing at night under multiple street lights. You've got cars, you've got the light towers out there. Even things like a traffic light or a police car throwing shadows out onto the course, it really affects the racing.
You are exactly right, Brad. It's such a weird feeling, because as your shadow moves past you, your peripheral vision picks that up as an athlete, as another racer just going past you in an attack, and it's like, oh my God, they're going so fast.
Yeah.
So that sensation, it takes you a little while for your central nervous system to like really pick that up and calm down. I mean, seriously, it's a thing.
It goes back to like the cavemen thinking that's a saber-toothed tiger coming up on you, right? It's an instinctual response.
Yes, because we've seen so many attacks already in the race, and that's what you're afraid of and what you're thinking about. And we're talking about how crucial your positioning is and who you're following up the road. So, yeah, when those shadows kind of come past you, it's so unnerving, those, you know, right when the light and darkness hits, until you kind of start getting used to it.
Yeah, you're hardwired to be scared of shadows coming up rapidly behind you. I think we all are.
Well, not just necessarily scared, but more like there goes the move, and you're constantly, you know, on, and you can't kind of sit back and watch the race play out. But yeah, looks like we've got the peloton has exploded that lap.
Yeah. Big one going here.
This shot, that's the shot right there. Yeah. It is so dark coming out of that corner for us anyway. I'm sure for the athletes it's fine, right? But yeah, that's intense. But
that is the last corner onto the start-finish stretch here. You saw they just made it. It gets real dark right before the corner, and then they have the corner lit. We just saw a group of about 8 go away. they're still there, and it looks like they're starting to attack each other in this group. I would say this is probably too big to hold here, but again, fate is in the hands of the guys behind them.
Yeah, and just like you were saying, it's probably too big. It's coming right back once the peloton realizes that. But look how strung out it is. That is conducive to the speed of and intensity of the race right now, and what's playing out. And you don't see your guys back at the back having a party anymore.
Yeah. Simmons having a great ride tonight. Just saw Michael Garrison starting to move up again as well. I think he took a little bit of time off, kind of realizing, what was happening in the race. Just realized he had a chance to take 10 or so laps and kind of relax a little bit, and then get back to work up here.
Another factor for the darkness is the road conditions that we were looking at earlier.
Yeah.
We just saw Robin Carpenter basically kind of get out of a rut to make that turn. So yeah, it just becomes more and more important as the race goes on, positioning for safety and for covering of any moves. And yeah, this is just a crucial part of the race as well.
We talked a little bit about the modern bike racer earlier, how the disciplines are changing, the season is changing for a lot of these riders, and it's really becoming sort of a create your own adventure in your path to being a professional. There's a lot of ways to get there. It's no longer just going to Europe and winning bike races. We've seen a lot of riders doing multi-discipline seasons, like Michael Garrison riding up at the front of this crit. He'll be out doing a 200-mile gravel race, a few times this year. So that's a wide difference of racing styles, training styles, the physiology that goes into it, but it creates well-rounded bike racers.
And we interviewed Emily Ehrlich yesterday, and she was talking about how Team Pursuit has helped her in the time trial. So I love that we cross all these disciplines, and all of these athletes are into all the different disciplines. You should try it. I remember my coach saying, if you have the chance and the ability, you should try every single discipline. So I just like BMX freestyle and race. But give me a BMX bike, I definitely try the gates. But seriously, I think it's crucial to just try all the disciplines and hone the craft. You've got the watch, you've got the talent. You're at this level for a reason, and it's also just a way to kind of keep it fresh. They talk a lot about high school athletes and how they should do different disciplines and sports just to keep their body moving in all different directions, and I think the same applies to cycling as well.
More riders into the pit here. This is Timothy Machulat. We saw him in there earlier. It looks like that might be the end of the night for him. Never good when you're going on the other side of the fence.
Nah, call it a night. Colby Simmons still at the front, definitely be an animator of this race the last couple of laps.
Project Echelon feeling the pressure. They're going to respond to Simmons' move here as Hugo Scala Jr. gets up there and starts driving it. Just about half an hour of racing to go, 90 minutes of competition for these guys tonight.
Brad, you see when the peloton kind of snakes around and it doesn't quite make sense. They're riding the inside right now of the course. Essentially, they're protecting their position and making anyone that puts in an attack to go the long way around. And then what they do, they swing wide to create the apex of that turn to take maximum speed through the turn, and then boom, goes right back to the inside to protect that inside, because essentially when you have momentum, you want to try and use it to make your attacks, but they're basically protecting and being on one side of the course, so the attacks can only come from one side. Colby Simmons definitely doesn't matter which side he goes from, he's just going to go for it.
Yeah, here we go. Oh, look at the effort behind him. These guys taking this move seriously. When you see one of those pink EF jerseys going up the road, that is a big old bullseye if you're a racer in this field.
No doubt, and especially since he's been in Europe racing basically the entire season, and then he comes over here he's been racing against World Tour teams, World Tour guys in all the World Tour races. But, you know, he's still a young racer getting experience. So when he comes back over here, yes, he's marked, but he's unknown almost. You know he's strong, obviously, if they're taking the talent and going to try and hone his craft. But, yeah, you don't want to let him up the road, but then you got to wonder, like, how strong is he as a single rider?
They just hit this last lap big. I noticed about 6 riders that just came unglued. They are just dangling off the back of this group, largely part of Simmons' move that went here. So he's slowly but surely chipping away at this group. Running to the pit here, maybe those guys were off because of an incident, as Michael Hemmerlin makes his way back for the Landis Cyclery Trek team. Gonna have a discussion with the officials now. Part of the free lap rule is that it has to be mechanical beyond your control, and so a lot of times you'll see riders get denied free laps when the officials look at the mechanical. There's the group that I was talking about.
Wow, that's a big group. Yeah. You got to wonder if something didn't happen, but they would have gone to the pit, I would imagine. So
they should go to the pit. That's not always the case. Yeah, that's way too many guys to have just gotten dropped. See if we can figure out what happened there. Meanwhile, a little bit of a gap up here, but nothing to write home about. Looks like the mechanics working on the bike here. This is easy to panic. The mechanic has a flashlight. He's down on the ground on his knees.
Yeah. So not just the riders that have to deal with the darkness, you know, the neutral pit does as well.
Hemmerlin doing a good job of staying calm in there. It's very easy to panic in this scenario, especially when you go in and the mechanics, you know, they can't fix it right away, right? When you get that, this might take a lap or two.
Your adrenaline's going, your heart rate's up. Yeah, it's kind of a stressful situation, but you have to, yeah, did they just push these guys? No, okay, sorry. Yeah, you definitely just have to know that the official sees what's going on, and they kind of give you a little bit of leeway, but, you know, eventually those laps run out, so we'll see if he can get back in the race.
There's Garrison trying to go across this gap. This race is starting to get really, really hard. You're starting to see the tempo lift. You're starting to see more and more of these moves going away. And then as the chase comes to try to chase these guys, that whiplash effect at the back is having a major effect on these guys.
Michael Garrison was someone we talked pre-race. He's on Brendan Rim's wheel right there. And yeah, I mean, you can't count Michael out, and he's so savvy. And yeah, let's see if this can't roll away. But it doesn't look like the Blazers really want that to happen. They're not there. They want to be represented.
That's Tyler Williams doing the chasing up there. No need to panic yet, but again, these are two really, really powerful guys. Like Garrison rode a top 5 in the individual time trial. He can do long, sustained efforts here. That's exactly the kind of guy you want in a breakaway.
Brendan Rim, that's one of his specialties as well. And yeah, the peloton kind of looking to see who's going to try and bring this back. It looks like Legion of Los Angeles definitely making a big jump across right there.
It's going to be Robin Carpenter going again. Oh, man, you want to talk about an experienced breakaway right here. If Carpenter gets into this move, well, now you see everybody wants to go with it. They see Robin Carpenter going in as well. See a little conversation here between the breakaway riders.
I'll roll it if you roll it.
Yeah, cutting a deal.
Yeah.
Takes a little bit to work out that rhythm. You got to, it takes a few laps before you get that smoothly established. How does that get established? I mean, is it based on landmarks on the course? Like, are you saying I'll take turn 1, you take turn 3, or is it just kind of a natural ebb and flow of the racing?
Nah, Brad, it's a little bit more of a natural ebb and flow. You'll see something like you're talking about more in a stage race when it's the climbers and the sprinters and the domestiques. You know, the climbers will take the climb at a reasonable pace and not drop off those that aren't as great at climbing. But when it comes to crit racing, it's just more of the flow of the race and just your turn whenever it comes up until the last couple of laps or until the sprint happens. Creed, I think Mike Creed knew he was Gonna be on TV there for a little bit. Creed definitely doesn't prefer any spotlight whatsoever.
He is
it's
not
all
in
about
it
his
for the
team.
fame.
No,
that's
not
for
at
sure.
all. No.
Garrison going to pull the plug here. He'll go back into the group. Now a little reset here. Good chance to try to jump. There you go.
Just
on
like
the
you
right
said.
side.
And it should be a Project Echelon. They have so many guys, you know, they should get comfortable with this attack, get caught, and, you know, try to create a break instead of just rolling around and or chasing something down. So to be on the attack for these guys, in my opinion, is really good.
That'll be 2 away, but Winston-Salem going to keep a close eye on things. As Brody McDonald tacks onto the back. It looks like they will be the next group to go away and come right back.
Name of the game, though, you've got to keep playing.
All right, we'll keep an eye on the front of the race as we go just over an hour and 5 minutes into the 90-minute competition. Just about 25 minutes of racing to go here. We're going to start switching to laps pretty soon, and the action will continue to heat up from downtown Charleston, West Virginia. We'll take one more quick break here, and when we come back, the exciting finish of your Elite Men's Criterium National Championship. Welcome back. Looking at a solo Will Harden moving off the front. Just jumped away while we were in break there, but Harden not getting any help up the road here. Tough place to be. But a story as old as time trying to get into a breakaway here. It's all about just playing the cards that are dealt.
Yeah, but, you know, Will's got a couple of teammates. Again, the second largest team in this race. So we've seen mostly Will doing the breakaway work. So let's see who they have as their sprinter.
Well, now he's got some company.
Yeah, it looks like mostly Project Echelon company.
5 Project Echelon riders with him. All company is not good company.
Exactly.
Looks like Fergus Arthur got up in there as well. Legion's got one up at the front. That's got to be Robin Carpenter.
Looks like 3 Project Echelons. But, you know, you can play those numbers, Brad, and it's okay. Like, you know, you kind of look at that and get a little discouraged. But, you know, your chances of winning are now 1 in 5 versus 1 in, you know, whatever's left of the peloton. And sometimes it's worth taking those chances.
I think this is 7 guys. Pretty sure that's Uranowski back on the back of the group for Visit Pittsburgh. He's had a great ride tonight.
Yeah, he has.
Fortunately, this group going to be a little too big for comfort.
Michael Garrison definitely leading the charge of bringing that back.
Yeah.
Colby Simmons right on his wheel.
Pretty soon here, should start moving to the lap counter as about 20 minutes away. This is usually, they usually try and put it up at 10 to go. That's sort of, I think, the standard for the transition from the clock to laps.
Whoa, whoa, nice miss there. Like I said, every one of these turns has a speed limit, and these guys are going to find that limit tonight.
Look at the way they snake across the road, go wide out of the corner, bring it back all the way to the other side. And then swing back out to set up for the next right-hander. Meanwhile, some guy's going to use the opportunity to launch up the outside. Project Echelon sends one. A lot of looking around up at the front of the field.
It looked like Michael Garrison was going to go across to it, and then I think he looked over to Colby Simmons, and I don't know if he purposely laid off or didn't want to do the work, asking for some of these other guys, you know, come up here and participate. And yeah, Michael's got to be careful that he's not doing all the pulling because he is just one.
I think they probably looked at each other, realizing that the defending champ, Stephen Bassett, is on his way off the front here. Garrison back to chasing behind him.
I guess he didn't like what he saw when he was looking around, asking for some help, and go back to the front and just get it done.
Want it done right, got to do it yourself.
I guess so. But this is where you can look to Team Winston-Salem or Team Cadence. You know, these guys have been there, or Skyline, they've been there, but they haven't necessarily been the ones to bring it back. So again, I think Michael needs to be a little bit cognizant of that. And Legion of Los Angeles, these guys, make them work, make them help you. Don't be afraid to ask.
Mission accomplished for Garrison. Did what he wanted to do, immediately turns it over to someone else.
Robin Carpenter definitely coming around second wheel, bringing that brake back and looking over his shoulder to see.
Somebody letting another little gap open up here. About 10 riders back. A little bit of daylight. Starting right here.
Team Skyline getting caught out and having to bring back, or at least close that gap. Colby Simmons back to the front, pushing the pace. Little flick of the elbow there.
Wonder if Simmons sees this gap.
He can definitely look back and see what the peloton looks like in the group. Like if it's all strung out and spaced out enough, he can tell, right, that the damage is being done, and not everyone's just sitting on your wheel. So, you know, try to keep that momentum and that excitement from the other guys of like, hey, let's roll this out a little bit. Let's see if we can't keep this established or get this established. But doesn't seem like he's having much success in rallying the troops.
They're going to run out of time here at 8 laps to go. If you want to get a breakaway, your window is rapidly closing here. still looking good. Last-ditch effort to get away.
This looks like Hugo Scala again.
Got Fergus Arthur with him. We've been talking a lot about the efforts being done on the front, but pretty soon it's time to start talking about the riders that haven't been doing the efforts. Those are the riders, very Kendall Ryan-esque, that have been sitting back, saving their energy, relaxing, waiting for what they hope to be is an inevitable sprint, and I would expect those guys to start making their way towards the front here pretty soon. Namely Lucas Bourgogne, who I think called it from, 80 minutes ago that this one was going to come down to a field sprint while he was hyping up the crowd at the back of the group, but all's well that ends well.
And his teammate Luke Fetzer, who won last night. So if anyone knows how to win from a sprint with the odds stacked against you, it's going to be Luke. So probably the best guy to lead you out for the finish of this race.
Fetzer won it with pure speed, too. I mean, it was just good old-fashioned sprinting. He was by far the fastest guy out there. Took, I think it was Alejandro Che to the line. Great sprinter in his own right, but Fetzer just had the better legs last night. So got to be riding that high tonight. I mean, that certainly gives you some confidence, but this is a different race that he's racing now. Here come the green jerseys up to the front. We're talking about Team Cadence Cyclery, presented by Encore Wire, with Lucas Bourgogne wearing number 9, Luke Fetzer wearing number 10, Gabe Porterfield wearing number 11, and Sam Smith wearing number 12. I think all 4 of them are back up to the front here.
It'll be interesting to see how well Project Echelon can recompose themselves and get back as a group and a unit to the front, or if they're going to keep attacking.
They're going to attack at least one more time.
It's like Ty Magner of Legion of Los Angeles on the front. Ty and Robin, like you were saying earlier, they've definitely done a lot of work for Danny Summerhill tonight. So we'll see if.
I forgot Danny Summerhill existed.
I sure hope he's still in the race. We have not seen him, but yeah, you got to assume that he's back there if those guys are still doing this kind of work.
See a lot of camera flashes out there too. That can't be easy to ride through. Adds a few more shadows to the course.
All spread across the road. Project Echelon again wanting a high pace, fast race. Don't want anyone to really have a recovery.
They definitely know how to use those engines to their fullest potential. They know how to use the numbers. They know how to get and stay organized. They also know how to sprint. It's not just about the breakaways here for Project Echelon. He's the farthest back that he's been in a while. Not going to last for long. He'll use this opportunity to move up on the inside here.
Yeah, you know, if you just tag a Project Echelon, they're going to move up either for an attack or to get into a lead-out train position. So a good marker to have.
and swing back around to the outside.
Yeah, essentially protecting that inside right there, so so no one can do a quick move up the inside on a turn and really kind of, as they like to say, dive bomb the inside and move up 20 positions. So you protect it as late as possible. And Sam Boardman knowing how to swing out very last minute to take the apex of that turn and then boom, go right back to the inside protection.
They're starting to corner much more aggressively out there as well. I'm watching the counter steering as they go through. They're really starting to lay into these turns. Doesn't look like anyone wants to come over the top of Project Echelon right now. Doors open. Come on in. I think that is Burgoyne right there in the green jersey on the outside. Porterfield is up there as well for Caden Cyclery.
5 laps to go. Now seeing Project Echelon more amass as a group to the front, not fully organized yet, which is fine, but definitely a more concerted effort to be together.
Well, now it's starting to become a game of timing. It's really musical chairs out there. You're trying to get yourself to the front on the last lap, into the last corner. You want to be first or second. The problem is there's 50 other guys that all want to be in the same position.
Yeah, and you know, we were talking in the women's race, the prime real estate was on Kendall Ryan's wheel. The prime real estate in this race is going to be on Project Echelon's train, and who do we see right there is Colby Simmons. So it's a matter of how long can he stay in that position. Is he going to be allowed to stay in that position the entire race to the finish, or will Lucas Burgoyne try and knock him off of that? And so that might be your new battle position. So kind of keep your eye back there, Brad. You know, we see the front, we see the pace, and those guys leading the pace and whatnot, but I'd start keying in on that 8th, 9th rider, right where Colby is.
Really trying to read ahead of this race, trying to figure out, okay, where do I need to be in order to be at the front in 4 laps from now? And it sounds like 8th, 9th spot, probably the best place to be.
Yeah, and that fight definitely happened because you got to start thinking the pace is just going to ramp up more and more as we go towards the finish line. Team Caden's taking over right now.
They're going to try. Project Echelon not going to go quietly here. They fought to control that one.
Well, and you can also get to this point where you're a bit of a mixed team. You've got Project Echelon, and you got, oh no, we got a crash.
I hate to see it far up towards the front. This is going to be inside of free laps as well, so these guys going to be out of luck, and that'll take it down to an elite group of about 20 guys on the front here as they go down into turn 3.
Oh no.
See if we can figure out where it happened. Looks like some guys crossed wheels.
Oh man.
And then the chain reaction behind as people start to grab brake. You hate to see it happen that late in the race.
You do.
But again, that speaks to why you need to continuously fight to stay at the front.
Yeah, for sure. And what I was saying earlier is essentially you have a mixed team with having Project Echelon mixed in with Team Cadence. Everyone has the same end goal to get their rider to the finish line, right? Your sprinter to the finish line. So it's okay that you're mixed up a little bit. As we all know, we're just going to try and go fastest to the finish. You know, you want to be on your teammate's wheel more than anything. That's who you trust the most. But you can, as a sprinter, you kind of take what you get. As Will Harden, no more free laps, like you said, just trying to chase back onto the back of what's left of this peloton now.
Well, if anyone can do it, it'll be Will Harden. The problem is when he gets there, tank's going to be empty, so This one might just be for glory for Hardin now. Well, it's no surprise that it's been a rotating cast of the same 10 or 15 guys at the front of this bike race. It's very clear that these are the strongest guys out there on the bikes right now. There is Ty Magner done for the night.
Glad to see he's up and okay, though.
It looked like Ricky Arnapol maybe in the pit as well for Project Echelon, so they lost at least one.
It looks like Ty might have high-sided, which is pretty tough and hard on the body when you...
Oh, more contact.
It just gets a little bit more argy-bargy as we get to the end of this race, though. That's crit racing.
It's just business, nothing personal. Project Echelon still got 4. Simmons is going to be a big factor in this one. He's got the engine to match Project Echelon here. I can see a scenario where Simmons has a major influence on how this race plays out, because he'll be one of the few guys that can respond to a big move from Project Echelon.
For sure, Brad, and I think he's already played a huge factor tonight. Definitely shaking things up, putting in some solid attacks, and yeah, I think you're right. I think, yep, that's Ricky.
Magner's already got a cold beverage.
Quick, man. He's a fast sprinter and quick to celebrate. Good for him, yeah.
He deserves it. Down to 2 laps to go. Project Echelon still in control. Got this one right where they want it, except for this pesky pink jersey.
Yeah, like I said, Colby's definitely knows how to mix it up, and he's there. Just right in the middle of that train. Let's see if they don't try and bump him out.
Garrison popping out. He wants to make sure he's got a clean line to the front.
And actually, I wouldn't call Colby in the train necessarily. He is. I stand corrected.
He's on the tracks.
Yeah, he's in the train.
I'm seeing Burgoyne moving up here, surrounded by his Cadence Cyclery teammates. Got 2 with him. Burgoyne wearing number 9. I think Luke Fetzer going to be his right-hand man wearing number 10. Bassett still in good position.
And Scott McGill on his wheel.
Now Garrison drifting a little farther back than I think he'd like to be.
Well, yeah, there's only so many spots at the front, and Project Echelon's taking up most of those with Team Cadence also in there, and Colby Simmons finding his way 3rd wheel.
So now, after a late race crash, forcing a selection here, these guys going to take it down to 1 lap to go, and your winner will come out of this remaining group of about 15 riders. Down to 1 lap to go. Project Echelon trying to control this one. Colby Simmons going to be the fly in the ointment today. And then you look at the underdogs trying to move their way up. Cadence Cyclery has 3. Winston-Salem trying to get there. And never count out Michael Garrison in these scenarios. On to the backside. Project Echelon still in control.
It's 2 Project Echelons, then it's Colby Simmons, and then 2 more Project Echelons after that, and then Team Cadence behind them.
Bassett putting in a massive effort here. I think he's going to empty the tank on the front.
Team Cadence just now coming up the right side of Project Echelon, trying to go up against their train right now.
There's Fetzer on the outside.
Oh.
Simmons fighting for 3rd wheel. Here comes Burgoyne up the outside. Oh, more contact into the corner. Everybody stays upright.
We see Team Cadence and Project Echelon fighting.
Burgoyne Burgoyne going to get a good look at this into the next turn. He'll move into second position here. And looks like one rider, that's going to be Hugo Scala, done out the back. He had a hand up, not sure if that's mechanical or just finishing his day up. Into the last corner, Bassett going to lead him through. That'll open the sprint. Simmons a little far back. Here comes Caden Cyclery. They've got Project Echelon on the wheel, but Lucas Bourgogne gonna try and sprint to the line, and the Cowboy will wear stars and stripes in 2025.
Wow, what a sprint. Again, the timing of that sprint and his position. And another upset, Brad, another upset of the big team and the underdogs.
Never doubted him for once.
Yeah, you're right, you did.
The way that Lucas Bourgogne has rode this season, he not only is riding as a fast guy, but he's riding as someone having fun on their bike, right? He's enjoying every lap. He likes to get in the mix. This is a guy who was born to race crits, and now he's going to have a Stars and Stripes jersey coming his way. This means a lot to Lucas Bourgogne. After his teammate Luke Fetzer won the U23 jersey last night, now Bourgogne going to have the pro jersey. Get ready. It's going to be a wild 2025 on the crit scene.
That's so great. They go 2 for 2 just like that, night after night. Yeah, those guys are definitely having a good time. And what a move. Those last 2 laps, what a fight, too. The elation on his face in disbelief.
Congratulations all around from the guys. Tyler Williams, real recognized real. When you get props from Tyler Williams, that means you rode a great race.
Yeah, agreed. And these guys all know each other. Like you said, they're week in, week out racing against each other. So everyone, congratulations all around.
Well, Burgoyne really won the race into the last corner. It was all about positioning. He fought for that second spot out of the final corner. That opened up the lane for him on the outside. And then he paired it with an exceptional sprint. I mean, he went up against Colby Simmons. He went up against a couple Project Echelon guys. He went up against, I'm not sure if that's Hardin or not, from Winston-Salem. Here's a good look at fighting for the corner. So that's Bourgoyne's second wheel here. And he just slotted in there, but then he opens up right here. The other key is that he had a gap behind him. See how there's about a bike length gap when he leaves that corner? That's all that he needed. Oh, man. He crushed this one.
And Robin Carpenter coming from way back, trying to get a podium position there, and it looked like do you think that was Colby Simmons hanging on for second place?
We'll get confirmation on top 3 here in just a bit, but we know one thing for sure. Lucas Bourgogne going to dominate in Charleston, West Virginia today. Looks like Scott McGill got up there for second, and unofficially Colby Simmons going to take third on the day.
Great sprint finish. Absolutely love seeing it.
And the best part, they spent the first half of the race partying at the back.
I guess so. In the Sprinters Lounge. So good.
Now these guys going to await their champ to roll back through. Again, all the credit in the world to these guys. Luke Fetzer, Gabe Porterfield, Samuel Smith. Got a lot to celebrate tonight.
Like we said, it's a team sport. These guys are just as happy for Lucas.
Lauren, I will warn you now, you are in for one of the best interviews of your career when Lucas comes into this booth to chat with us.
Can't
this
wait.
is going to be life-changing for you. If you've not yet experienced a Lucas Bourgogne interview, strap in, because you're in for a exciting few minutes coming up here.
I'll just sit and listen to you guys. This is going to be great.
Celebrating all around. Chris Tolley getting in on the celebration action out there. Couldn't have asked for a better group of guys to win this bike race. Lucas has also coined his own hashtag, your mom's favorite crit racer. I think he's my mom's favorite crit racer now. She loves a good winner. Look at that smile.
So Richard Hollick is also here. He's one of the team. That's him. I think that's him right there giving the hugs. Yeah. So not an American, but they're going on from racing from here onward. And he said it was just easier to be here and to celebrate and be with their team. So to be there last night and celebrate, and then again tonight. Jeez.
What a race. Lucas Bourgogne wins the Elite Men's Criterium National Champion. We're going to grab a word with him here very shortly and celebrate him on the podium. We'll take one last break from our live coverage of the USA Cycling Criterium National Championships, and then we'll be right back to wrap up the night.
Traditional schools weren't built for athletes like you. They box you in, slow you down, dull your dreams. But you don't play by someone else's rules. You're here to push limits, break records,
Well, I cracked.
and own every inch of your journey. US Performance Academy was born to fuel that fire. An online school that aligns with your ambition, respects your grind, balances your dedication to athletics and academics. This is where you learn what you're truly capable of. Let's go. US Performance Academy, official academic partner of USA Cycling. GoUSPA.org.
Welcome back downtown Charleston, West Virginia, where you just watched Lucas Bourgogne earn a Stars and Stripes jersey for Team Cadence Cyclery, presented by Encore Wire, as he takes Scott McGill and Colby Simmons to the line in a chaotic last lap finish. But Bourgogne sprints out of the final corner and gets there first to wear the Stars and Stripes into 2025. Robin Carpenter going to take fourth on the day. Will Harden hung in there for fifth, fighting back after getting caught behind that crash for a top 10 ride. Michael Garrison also going to be in that mix in sixth place, with Tyler Williams in seventh. Brendan Rim pulling out eighth for Project Echelon Racing. And then Samuel Smith getting up there for another top 10 for Team Cadence Cycler, with Andrew Frank rounding out your top 10 for Empire Cycling. But top of the leaderboard goes to Lucas, the Cowboy Bourgogne, who I think called this one from a long way out. Lucas, welcome as our new national champion. Take me through tonight's race. Pretty calm early on. We coined a new term for you tonight. We call it the Sprinters Lounge at the back of the race. We saw you guys hanging out, having a good time for the first half. How was that?
It was good. It was really good. I knew we needed to be back there. We needed to stay relaxed. Echelon would ride early. And I got my boys around me. We were testing the lines back there, really seeing how fast we could take some of the corners without crashing. And I guess it paid off a little bit, you know.
Talk about what this means for you after you watched your teammate Luke Fetzer get his national championship last night. Does it get any better for Team Cadence than the last 24 hours for you guys?
No. We would like to coin ourselves as America's team right now, since we got both the jerseys. So, oh no, it's incredible. I couldn't have imagined if we could stop the year right here.
Yeah.
That this one weekend makes it all. So to be here, to be in West Virginia, to have so many people come out celebrate what we're doing here and really make a national championship feel like one of the biggest bike races in the country. It was, man, we love West Virginia, and we can't wait to be back.
Talk us through those last couple of laps, because you guys were fighting for position and really good fight, good battle against Project Echelon.
Yeah, you know, I had Luke, I had Sam Smith, I had Gabe Porterfield, we had a very full roster of really strong guys and guys who know how to fight, especially in a crit where, you know, it may not be Euro style like Echelon does, where it's more straight line fighting. Instead, it's coming under in corners and dive bombing and protecting protecting more of the corner rather than your front wheel. And Luke really set me up. He rode out of his skin. Sam Smith, Gabe Porterfield behind me cleaning my wheels. We had Liam Flanagan in there. We had Luke Ferris of our sister teams, and it really all came together. I knew stay safe, stay pretty at the back for a while, move up, and we get in there. It got very rowdy with Echelon and Colby Simmons, but you know, this is what we do all year long. This is what we came to show everyone. We're the best crit team in the country, and you know, we did exactly that. So,
how important was this race to you? You obviously have a full calendar of domestic racing. Was this the biggest goal for you this year?
Yeah. I mean, this has been the biggest goal for me for years. Wow. I've 3 years in a row dropped my chain in the last second to last corner, which has been pretty depressing. And waiting 1,000 days for this moment, I came into that second last corner, I was like, ain't no way I'm dropping my chain this year. Ain't no way. I'm going early if I have to take that line clean. And we come out, and Echelon was taking a run, and I got to take off a run off of them. I think it was maybe Colby Simmons, and they had an absolutely spectacular ride. I got a little lucky. I got through the slip, and I didn't drop my chain, so that was pretty nice. I can't complain. So
what's this mean for the rest of the season for you? Obviously, things are going to be a little different wearing the Stars and Stripes.
Man, that.
There you go, buddy.
Oh. Oh yeah, we found a cowboy hat in the crowd. Woo! And it doesn't sit quite well with this head thing on, but
I like it.
No, it was for the rest of the year. This means we get to ride with the pride of the American flag on our shoulders, myself and Luke Fetzer. So, I mean, you dream of moments like these, and for 365 days, I get to represent the U.S. with that jersey and take it to all the biggest crits against all the international talent. So, you know, I am blown away right now. This is incredible team, incredible moment.
Are you gonna party tonight? Or are you gonna save it for after Monday, or what?
We're actually doing the craziest, what I'm calling the crit tour of a lifetime. We actually go to sleep. Well, probably party a little bit. A little bit, but we have to wrap up USA Crits tomorrow in Winston-Salem, so we bounce out down there. Then the next day, we got an 8-hour drive. We hit Easton Twilight in Pennsylvania. The next day, it's Tour Somerville, 3 days rest. We hit Armed Forces, 3 days rest. We hit Tulsa Tough. So it's this was the start of what is going to be a very long travel block, but we are excited. We are ready. We're young and hungry, so this is the time in our lives where we can go and do some crazy, crazy crit calendars like that. So,
well, hopefully a successful start to.
I could lose every race from here on out for the rest of the year. I don't even care anymore. This is great. I won the one thing I wanted to, so I am beyond. Oh.
It's going to be a crit block that has been 1,000 days in the making coming up here. So certainly wish you the best, and hope you get a chance to enjoy the next few weeks in the Stars and Stripes jersey. I know you're going to be working hard out there in your tour of crits coming up here, but take a little time to reflect on the work that you did to get here into the Stars and Stripes.
Yes, sir. We're on tour, baby. We are on tour. Let's do it.
Catch them at the next stop. They'll be heading down to Winston-Salem, then on to Easton, then on to Somerville. Thanks for everything you do, Lucas. We really appreciate the show out there. Great race tonight. Let me be the first to high-five our national champion.
Woo!
Next time we see Lucas, it'll be on the podium, and he'll be wearing a Stars and Stripes jersey. So we'll let you get down there and celebrate with your people. I know you probably got a cowboy hat to find and a podium to get on, so we'll see you down there. And, again, congratulations to our new Criterium National Champion.
Thank you, guys.
Well, don't forget, not done racing yet, as we'll be back live on Flow on Monday morning for our Elite Women and Elite Men's Road Race National Championships. Coverage for that starts at 7:45 a.m. on Memorial Day right here in West Virginia, and we'll wrap up after a long, long day of racing. Well, it was a perfect day in Charleston, West Virginia. It does not get much better than what we were treated to in the Elite Men's race. First of all, the weather held up this year. That allowed for some super fast racing, super aggressive racing, and some really interesting tactics.
Talk about the year of upsets, my gosh. And you're right, that was a pretty amazing interview. Thank you.
Better than good. Well, we saw Project Echelon do what they did best, just trying to dominate. That is their play that has worked time and time and time again. But every once in a while, you find someone that can upset the apple cart. And tonight, that was Lucas Bourgogne and his Cadence Cyclery presented by Encore Wire Team.
No, that's what we were talking about. Was Project Echelon ready for a Team Cadence kind of race? And those guys going head-to-head hadn't happened yet. So it happened tonight, and Team Cadence coming out on top.
A lot of chaos out there as well. We saw that late race crash took the elite group down to about 20 guys as we saw the gaps opening up. And then it really just came down to that battle into the last corner where Lucas Bourgogne fought his way into that train and then held it for second position out of the last corner and then sprints to a win. Lauren, a fairy tale victory on a night like tonight.
Yeah, blessed. I love to see how much it means to him, and he was going to go at all costs no matter what for this win.
Well, as we crown two new national champions tonight at the national championships, we congratulate and salute our new champions and get ready to crown some more as coverage resumes this Monday here on FloBikes. On behalf of Lauren Hall, my name is Brad Soner saying thanks for watching. We'll see you Monday on FloBikes.